Hi, Natalie. I'm Sarah from The Upcoming. Thanks so much for taking the time to speak with us.
Thank you.
So for people who don't know anything about The Intruder, how would you introduce this film? What can they expect if they come and see it?
I would ask them to go and see the film with the less possible expectations and to allow themselves to be surprised. It's just a woman who hears voices, and everything that happens after that should be left for the film to narrate. So for me, it's important not to place the film as a gore horror movie, because it's not. It's not a classical thriller. It's not a dark comedy. It's not a love story, but it has elements of the uncanny. It has elements. Oh, maybe I have to, get some battery. Let me see. Oh, we are fine. We're fine.
Yeah.
Okay. So it has elements of the uncanny, but it's not a horror film. So if they are going to watch a classical horror film, they are not going to be satisfied. If they want to allow themselves to be surprised and taken to unexpected places for what starts as a horror film, then they might enjoy the film.
Mm. And what was the inspiration for the film, the story? I understand it was based on this book, if that's right, El Mal Menor?
There's like two main inspirations, maybe. The first one, three main inspirations. The first one was the book El Mal Menor, which had this idea about a parallel place where dreams take place physically. So this was an interesting story, an interesting idea for me in the way in which one should approach fantasies and how they operate. And then there was a second inspiration, which was the dubbing in my first film. Everybody talks to me about Barbarian Sound Studio, and it's a film I really love. But really, what inspired me was that I had to do a very long and difficult dubbing for my first film. And there I was really scared each time the sound technician stretched the word and enable to change a consonant or to do some work on it, and listening to that really gave me the creeps, and this was my inspiration. Also, it was a very anguishing and difficult experience. It had to do also about the neutro, the way in which Spanish is spoken in films which are dubbed. It's a way of speaking that is very far from the way in which we speak in Buenos Aires, especially in Argentina, but especially in Buenos Aires, it's very different. So for us, this also is something like, one could say, it's part of what one could call uncanny, unheimlich, and so this, the way in which we listen to the words in films already has something important. So afterwards we had the dubbing experience, and I started learning about the ways films are dubbed, and the way those the people who do the dubbing, the actors have to are trained, and all this for me was an inspiration. And in the third place, I went to listen to my to a friend, my sister-in-law, who sings in a choir, and they sang these wonderful songs, and they have a very interesting modern repertoire, and I was really amazed, and I thought about changing. In the book, the character has a restaurant, and El Prófugo, which is this strange person who enters her life, works in the restaurant. But I thought, for the film where I have to introduce sound as the novel introduced image through films, because it talks a lot about films. So I said I have to introduce sounds, voices, and words into the to the film universe. So I thought the squire was absolutely wonderful for this, and that the character could be someone like someone who played the piano or an organist. And then I went to see the organ in the CCK, which is a symphonic opera. It's sorry, not an opera house. It's a symphonic, a place where symphonies are played in Buenos Aires, and it has a beautiful organ, and I could go inside it, and this was for me absolutely amazing. So I created all the story in this like three with these three inspirations, like the book, the organ, and the dubbing.
Amazing. And I mean, you were mentioning Bavarian Sound Studio there, and I was also reading, maybe there's sort of like glimmers of like the Black Swan in terms of the psychological thriller. So it does kind of seem to cut across different genres. Do you take inspiration from other filmmakers, or the other types of film which you feel like you draw on, or is this something that you amalgamate from your own mind?
I think it's inevitable to get inspiration from other films, as from everything one sees and experiences. Barbarian Sound Studio was important for me, as well as many other films with dubbing, especially the Almodóvar films, which, Mujeres al borde de un ataque de nervios, and also the other one, which I don't recall now, but La Ley del Deseo, I think it has also a dubbing. There's many, but this was maybe the main thing about dubbing. And but really I started writing about dubbing when I was dubbing my first film. This was the real inspiration for that, and then I thought about the horror movies and everything, and I really loved the Barbarian Sound Studio, and another important inspiration was Mulholland Drive. What else in films? I'm trying to think. The book mentions a lot of films. One of the characters has a video store, and so he's a horror film fan. So he talks about these films all the time, and it's, in a way, it draws you to this, to look for inspiration in films. But I think I got the main inspirations from the things I told you about, and then let me think about another film that maybe I love the Black Swan. I hope there's something of it in my film. If I would be very proud of that. What else about films and inspiration for this movie? Let me think. Well, I think it's those were the main inspiration. Also, Repulsion by Polanski, in the sense in which the character is trying not to be shown so clearly by the camera. This was also something important.
And just coming to the main character of Inez, played by Erica Rivers. So how did you work with Erica to kind of bring out this brilliant performance, which kind of strikes this balance between kind of strength and vulnerability? And then also, did you kind of see this as, there's all these men in her life that want to kind of help her, save her, but almost she needs to kind of do that for herself, find her inner confidence and strength. Was that a kind of important theme to you?
Yes. This was very important, and it's very different from the novel. So it was something that I wanted to say, evidently. I found out this as I was writing. It wasn't what I wanted to do initially. Was to portray the book as faithfully as possible, but finally it came out differently. The work with Erika was wonderful, and it was very long, interesting, fun. It was quite amazing. We even used some props that I don't want to talk about this because it's a bit of a spoiler, but we used some props for her to feel different in some things when we wanted to show that something was there was something getting inside her. And we had I really think sometimes I think I should have filmed all this process for, I don't know, for maybe for other actors to be able to appreciate how difficult it was for us, and how many things we did, and how many things we investigated and talked about just for little small details in the film. It was a wonderful experience, and it was even more precious for me than the actual filming of the movie, where you're always, in a hurry and worried and everything, just thinking about what can go wrong. But all this process was very wonderful, and it took quite a long time.
Okay, I think I'm out of time, unfortunately, but thank you so much for sharing all that with me, and congratulations on The Intruder, and best of luck with it here at London Film Festival.
Thank you very much. Thank you
Thanks a lot
for watching the film. Bye-bye.
Cheers.